Good evening, Facebook family. My name is Chef Inderpal. I'm going to be teaching you guys today on how to basically make jeera rice and raita. Jeera rice is basically cumin infused rice, and raita is basically a yogurt concoction. It can include fruits, dried fruits, nuts, legumes, other grains. It can include vegetables. It can include spices. There's a number of things that a raita can include. This dish is basically very light, it's very affordable, it's very aromatic, and it's extremely easy to make. This dish, my mom used to make this dish for me a lot when I was growing up. It's one of my favorite dishes to make when you're hungry at late nights, don't want to eat too heavy, you want something that's light. Like I said, thank you, Mom, so much for this. Thank you so much. I do my rice completely different than anybody does. I do my rice in a saute pan. I don't cook my rice in a stock pot. I don't cook my rice in a big pan, in a simple regular saute pan. Why? A saute pan is larger in diameter. I can control it a lot more easier than it's a pot, and the water evaporates a lot more quicker in what I need. It rapidly makes rice from a 25-minute product down to a less than a 12-minute product. We're making basmati rice, like I said. Take it from start to scratch. You'll see how we do it. Rice, for me, especially basmati, has always been a 1-to-2 ratio, meaning that if you have 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. Half a cup of rice, 1 cup of water. 3 cups of rice, 6 cups of water. Kind of get the gist of it, right? Let's start getting to the cooking aspect of it, show you how we're doing this and what we're doing. Easy thing. If you get any questions, concerns, let me know. Like I said, just regular basmati rice. A simple stock pot, cover, mise en place. That's all it is, mise en place. Start showing you guys how we start making everything and go from there. Always want to start with a sharp knife. In my jeera rice, we're going to add a little bit of onions. You want your onions to be basically small dice, as small as you can get them. And like I said, this recipe, I'm only making a half a cup of rice, so it means I need 1 cup of water. A half a cup of rice is also gonna double up once you cook it. A half a cup of dried rice equals about 1 cup or more of basically fully cooked rice. All you're gonna need for this recipe is gonna be 2 tablespoons of finely chopped onions. 2 tablespoons is right here, perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is, once those onions are cut up, I'm gonna take my cutting board, leave it there, take my pan, and I'm just gonna turn it on a low heat. Not a low heat, take it on a nice high heat. Let this pan get extremely hot. Once the pan gets hot, go from there. Just take this hot pan, we're gonna add some ghee. Ghee is basically clarified butter. I'll show you another video how to make perfect ghee, best ghee you'll ever make. You're gonna take about a tablespoon of ghee, which I have right here. Once your ghee starts getting melted and gets that nice color, you want to add your onions. Add them while the pan is still cold. You want to bring up to temperature. while this is still cold and trying to get it back to temperature, you're going to be... Great question, John. Chef, I'm sorry. Ghee, the major difference in ghee and clarified butter. Ghee is basically the Indian version of clarified butter. But ghee, basically, we take it a step further and we basically skim the fat off the top of it. So you're basically left with more of a pure butter. Basically, in the purest form is basically what ghee is. Now my onions are starting to sizzle and I have onions going. I'm going to take basically jeera. Jeera basically is cumin seeds. That's all this is cumin seeds. I'm going to lightly aromatically toast my cumin seeds and put it in here. You want to get all of this basically going till basically the onions are basically almost at a caramelized color. While that's happening, here's my basmati rice. All I'm going to do is take half a cup of rice. Like I said, half a cup of rice is more than enough for 2 people. You want the onions to be basically almost a caramelized color. Let this keep going. As you keep cooking this, the jeera or the cumin seeds are basically breaking up in aromatics. It smells so wonderful in this kitchen. If you guys could smell all of this, it smells heavenly right now. So now do you see the onions right there, how it's starting to get caramelized in color? This is all what you're looking for basically, this caramelization of your onions. And once you start seeing the caramelization of onions, you want to take your rice, add your rice. Mix around your rice with your basically cumin seeds, onions, till everything is nicely coated. Once everything is nicely coated, you're going to add a cup of water. Be careful when you add your water. It is going to splatter, so be extremely careful. When the water gets dropped in, you're going to take your heat and you're going to lower it now to simmer. Take this and cover the rice. In about 12 minutes, this will be basically perfectly al dente basmati rice. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make the raita or the yogurt concoction. So we have basically our bowl for our yogurt. We're basically gonna just take one cup of yogurt. That's all we're using for today's recipe. You can measure out 1 cup. 1 cup. 1 cup goes in. My favorite thing about making raita is basically, you see how Greek yogurt, it's very basically stiff. It doesn't move, it's like this. I like to just take a mixer with an egg beater on it and just loosen it up basically. Once the yogurt is loosened up, take an English cucumber. And you have multiple ways of doing this. Always wash your produce, by the way. Always wash your produce. I'm going to take a julienne peeler, which is basically a peeler that basically makes nice julienne strips. And I'm going to just basically lay my julienne skin sides on my cutting board. Don't worry about all the skin. You don't need to take everything off. With the cucumber being like this, if you don't have a julienne peeler, you can also just take a regular peeler, peel the skin back, and basically make thin strips out of basically your peelings. This one automatically makes the basically thin strips for me. Like I said, this is a julienne peeler. I'm going to take these thin strips and I'll cut them into small pieces. Add this directly to the yogurt. Now the rest of this, we only need about half of this. And this will be used. We're gonna shred this with basically a box grater. This is a box grater. Again, a knife, sharp knife, taking a tomato, cut your tomato in quarters, 4 quarters. You're gonna de-seed your tomato. Once tomatoes de-seeded, from the point end, you want to basically make small incision marks. So your tomato still stays in basically the piece. Then cut into strips. Where the point is, you cut it in half again. You've now gotten small cuts and everything. This is going to go directly into the bowl. Again, 1, 2, 3. The seeds that you guys take away, these seeds, you can basically use the seeds to basically make jams, jellies, so many different seeds that you can use for the seeds. Don't ever disregard food. Can you use a food processor for the cucumbers? Yes, you can, John. You can use a food processor. If you're going to use a food processor, you can use a shredder, the shredder on the food processor is what you want to use. Let's check how the rice is doing. So I pulled the rice off the heat because I want to show you guys. Do you guys hear that crispiness? That's the rice. Look at the rice, the grains it's been used. You guys can see this, the grains in the rice. This is almost done. Like I said, this is a quick, easy to make basmati rice to do. Let this keep going. Turn the heat off, and now let it just sit there by itself without the heat. Come back into this dish. Take this yogurt concoction, gently fold everything in together. If you make this dish and you let it sit overnight, flavor profile will definitely change. It'll become more incorporated. You'll definitely see a stronger taste in the cucumbers and the tomatoes as well. Once everything is incorporated, you want to start adding a little bit of salt and pepper. Start off with basically a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Exact same thing with black pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Gently fold in. And now, taste for salt and pepper. What kind of knife should you buy, John? You should basically buy a chef knife. You can use a paring knife, preferably a chef knife if you have one. Salt and pepper, perfect. Now let's look at the rice. There's no more water. That's a good sign. If I can tell you al dente rice, this is al dente rice. Quick, easy to make. Start plating the food now for you guys. Give me 1 minute. And there you have it. Perfectly done rice. And like I said, we only used half a cup of dried basmati rice. Half a cup will yield about 1 cup of cooked finished product rice. And there you have it, folks. Jeera rice, cumin infused rice. Raita, basically yogurt concoction that can be used for almost anything. And that's it, folks. Hope you guys are staying safe during this whole quarantine. It's difficult times for everybody. Keep in mind, stay indoors, wash your hands, do whatever you guys can. If you guys get any questions, concerns, please reach out for me. If you see a recipe that you guys are interested in making, have a question, shoot me a message. I'm always here to help you guys. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow.